Hello, this is Blog 3. My name is Sarah Olin, and I look forward to everybody's feedback. So here we go. So after completing the skills questionnaire, I found that I was very high for interpersonal and conceptual skills, and I was still in the moderate range for administrative skills. This really didn't come to a shock. I like to be more involved with people, address them personally. Administrative skills is usually my least option when I'm in a management position. So again, I thought the questionnaire was spot on, and that's something I know in the future, if I am in another leadership or management role, that I need to focus more on these administrative skills. So I've been in a leadership role before as charge nurse, and I thought I was successful in it, and hopefully my coworkers would agree with my leadership abilities. Again, like I said, I thought it led well. However, often some of these administrative policies would hinder the way I led and how I would have to lead. So, again, that's something I know I need to address personally. It's hard when you want to do something one way, but upper management is telling you have to do it a certain way. And I'll get more into that, I guess now. The model I chose to review was the primary nursing model, and I chose this one because this is a model that I've seen in both two places I've worked, and I've seen it work wonderful, and I've seen it not work so great. So the primary nursing model, as I'm sure most of you know, is the primary nurse comes in, gets their group of patients, and they're responsible for all the patient care, educating, and what have you. So the limitations I've seen is often when you have someone in a leadership role or in a management role who doesn't know how to make this model work for their organization. So for instance, you come in, you'll have a new grad and they have 6 patients, whereas you have more experienced nurses who have 5 patients and are your easier patients. I believe this is where that primary nursing model fails. And I think it's a good model. And how I've made it work is, giving people an appropriate assignment for their skills and also based off patient acuity. You can have 4 patients, but their acuity is higher than having 6 patients who are up walking, talking. So in that, I see this model very effective. I've also used the team nursing model. This one I found somewhat effective. However, again, you have a strong nurse sometimes and a weaker nurse, and a lot of times this led to a lot of grudges and a lot of workplace dissatisfaction. So for right now, I'm going to stick with the primary nursing model and think that's the one that I like, and that's the one I would hopefully choose to lead and manage. So to secure needed resources and staff, which I'm sure this is always a hot button issue with staffing, I would utilize planning, organizing, coordinating, and try to focus less on directing. I've often found that if you present something to the staff, that they're a little bit more receptive, and a lot of these problems they can figure out themselves. Currently where I work, we have a staffing committee, but as nurses we sit down and we balance the schedule by ourselves and work it out amongst ourselves, which I think is more effective than administration coming in and just moving you off certain days. And it usually can be settled, like I said, through just basic staff needs can be addressed when you use your staff and you don't have to go as far up as administrative needs. I'd also anticipate how people would feel about new proposals and respond to people's requests and concerns. Oftentimes change is not recepted very well. People don't like change, but anticipating how they would react and feel is essential in leading. So with all this being said, I think it is important for management to stay current on literature and use new techniques that they've seen. Currently, I work in an environment that is new. And as of right now, us as staff nurses are allowed to kind of, forecast how we want the organization to run. And we're able to have a lot of input. And I know that this comes from a lot of new research and current literature. Another thing I've seen is one of my managers, based off of research she's seen and literature, loves to debrief. So after a procedure that's gone wrong, maybe a delivery or a C-section, we sit down, we debrief, we address any issues that need to be that are concerning. And as staff members, I feel that we're able to speak openly and honestly in this environment and not take anything home with us. So that's definitely, I've seen something in my new organization that I didn't in my last, and I know this is usually based off of current literature and what is the best way to address these concerns or any conflicts that may be going on. So to identify the levels and departments that I would need to work with to be an effective manager, I honestly think all departments would need to be considered. You really need to look at the workflow of the patient. You know, are they coming through the emergency department? If so, you know, it would start with admission and registration. Then it would move to the emergency department. Then the physician who's admitting this patient. Then even to the charge nurse of the emergency department. Why is this an appropriate patient for this floor? So really, I think in nursing you have to have an interdisciplinary approach, and you need to address all departments. I can't really see a department being left out. This also brings into the vertical and horizontal. I definitely see both in my organization. I see vertical being used more within that scope, let's say more within, you know, an RN. I think they use vertical more, and then if they're not able to solve an issue, something goes further up to administration, and that's when the horizontal approach is used. So again, I don't really have a preference. I think most things can be solved by the nursing staff that you have, and if you need to as a last resort is when you need to go to horizontal and really utilize your upper administration and your managers. So I would just like to say thank you. I hope I addressed everything, and I look forward to all your feedback. Thanks.